Hola, ¿cómo están todos?
Saludos, bienvenidos aquí hoy que van a aprender una receta tradicional navideña de Puerto Rico que se llama el coquito.
Yes! So we're going to start. Celi's going to teach us how to prepare coquito. So I'm not sure if you guys ever heard of it, but it's delicious.
It is, yes, it is a Christmas beverage originated from Puerto Rico. There are many versions of coquito. If you want to say in the U.S., eggnog. If you want to say maybe in Europe or in Spain, passet. In Cuba, they have a similar type of beverage, but they add like an ice cream scoop of coconut ice cream scoop to it. So different variations. Ours starts off, it's very simple recipe, and this recipe I'm going to show you is very basic. It is the basic recipe for coquito because there are many variations. Once you have the basic down, then you add your variation. It could be chocolate, it could be pistachio, it could be Nutella, it could be strawberry, so de fresa, chocolate, pistachio, almendra, a variety of flavors, kind of like moonshine has a variety of flavors. Coquito has a variety of flavors, but you always need your basic recipe, which is what we're going to teach you today. The basic ingredients are leche de coco, coconut milk, crema de coco, cream of coconut, leche evaporada.
How do you say that?
Evaporated milk.
Okay.
Y leche condensada, condensed milk. These are your four basic milks that you're going to add to your coquito. Then you also will have vanilla, cinnamon sticks, cinnamon en polvo, so canela, vainilla, and some clavos. Now, everybody has their own take on coquito. It originally had eggs in coquito, like you hear eggnog, coquito used to have eggs in it. But since we now have condensed milk, they used eggs mostly for its density to create that thickness later on. Condensed milk kind of replaces the eggs. So that's why we don't use eggs anymore. But some traditional lists, I guess, will use eggs. Don't need to. Now, in this little jar, I have what we call a special tea, and it's a spiced tea. It's spiced cinnamon and cloves. So you're going to take, you want to do this first. You're going to take 3 sticks of cinnamon, estoy mal aquí, and 6 little cloves, and you are going to add them to this water that I have here, which is 1.25 cups. And we're going to boil this to create a spiced tea. So we're going to put that in there. This also adds a wonderful aroma to your house. As it simmers, you're going to have that Christmassy scent of cinnamon and cloves. So you don't need any diffuser or potpourri. You're creating your own. So we'll get that going. So while that's simmering, we're going to start with our milks. First, here's a little trick. Now you can make this coquito in a big bowl like this. You can put it in your blender, or you can even use a hand mixer. My blender is not big enough to put these quantities in there, so I'm using my bowl. And I will use my whisk to mix it up. Since it's a very liquid drink, you don't need much blending going on. Trick number 1 is that you want to add your condensed milk first. Because if you add your evaporated milk and your coconut milk, and then you drop your condensed milk, it's kind of gonna plop, and the same goes with the cream of coconut. So the cream of coconut and the condensed milk are going to go first. Okay, so vamos a abrir las latas. Yep. Okay. So aquí vamos. Here we go. Leche condensada. You see how thick that is? And you want to get every little bit out of it because leche condensada is the sweetness that this leche de, well, this and the crema de coco is what.
So, Celi, why don't you tell us a little bit about the story, what we're mixing everything up? What's the story of Coquito?
So Coquito, yeah, so Coquito, if you look up a little bit about Coquito, is your traditional Spanish drink that is had during the holidays. It actually begins like in November. I mean, Puerto Ricans and a lot of Latinos just, start up Christmas very early. For us, it starts right at Thanksgiving and it goes right through the Three Kings Day. So
even before something.
Yeah, before Thanksgiving. So it starts for us Thanksgiving and straight through to Reyes. Leche de coco now. So I'm mixing all of this together. See, it's easier to just kind of pour that in. Y ahora la leche de evaporada.
I'm gonna put it here in the front so they
Sí, dale. So now, what we have here is the 4 milks mixed up. Yeah, why don't you go ahead and stir that. You want to stir that well until all the milks blend together. And because I already created my wonderful tea, my spiced tea, I'm going to add a cup in I'm going to add, I forget, ¿dónde está mi té? I am going to add a 1/4 cup of my tea into this. Smells delicious, no?
It smells to Christmas.
It smells like Christmas. So we're going to add some tea. Again, this tea has cinnamon and cloves, canela y clavos. Seguimos. We blend all those milks together till you have a smooth consistency. Now, here's another little trick. When you're going to add your rum, okay, because we're going to add rum to this. Now, you can make coquito without rum, because we usually make a batch for the kids because they want to be part of the Christmas holiday. So we'll make a non-alcoholic coquito, and then we have the alcoholic coquito. But typically, everybody wants rum in there. And in Spanish, we have this thing called al gusto, to taste. So in the recipe will say about 1 1/4 to 1 1/2 cups of rum to this batch of milk that we have here. Some people may add a little bit more, some people add a little bit less, depending on how strong they want it. We typically use white rum, but you can use gold rum. You can use Bacardi or any kind of rum you have, you can add to this. We typically use rum Don Q, and it's white, the one that we use. So what we're going to do now is we've added our cinnamon water.
Is this enough?
Yep, that's good.
What's the consistency?
No, it's just very light, okay? So now I'm going to add about 1 1/4 cups of this. As you can tell.
Ooh, it's a lot.
I know. Okay, we have 1 1/4 cups.
Oh, now, wow, it smells a lot.
Little stuff. 1 1/4 cups of white rum. Now, we like to add a little bit of cinnamon. But a trick, as I said, we're going to add this cinnamon to our rum. And I only add it to the rum because if I were to just pour it over my milk, you're going to see a lot of like freckles throughout the milk. And it's okay because we know it has cinnamon, but it is a better mix if you mix it with your rum. It's a smoother look to it. It's not as freckly, and it doesn't kind of clump up like when you pour it over your milk. So I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of cinnamon to, excuse me, 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. 1 teaspoon of cinnamon to my rum. I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of vanilla to the milk.
Cucharada de vainilla.
Una cucharada, sí, estamos mal, perdona. Mi gente, aquí vamos. Una cucharada de vainilla a la
¿Lo
leche.
bato?
Dale, sí, bátelo. Y aquí, in the mix of the rum and the cinnamon, I'm just giving it a stir. Now, instead of white rum, we have this dark rum, but it's only because of the cinnamon. Y se lo añado, so I'm going to mix it in there. Okay, now you mix all that up.
Uy, qué rico se ve.
Está rico, rico, rico. Y ahora, el toque final va a ser con la nuez moscada. So the last touch of this is going to be with nutmeg. If you have fresh nutmeg, you can grate over it. I have this powdered nutmeg, which is great too. And what we're gonna do is we're only gonna add about 1/8 of this. I could have added it to my rum, but I chose not to. A ver si puedo abrir aquí.
¿Quieres que te ayude?
Mira, a ver. Tal vez.
Do you want to hold it?
Mira, a ver. Tiene. Ahora sí abre. ¿Sí? Okay. Okay. We're going to do 1/8 of a teaspoon of nutmeg, maybe even less. And I'm just going to sprinkle while Fanny continues to stir. Okay. Y seguimos dándole vuelta. We keep stirring a little bit and smell all those nice spices. We need a tester. No? So we're gonna just take this nice spoon, gonna come over here and I'm going to, wow, está bueno, está bueno. To me, it's al toque. That means it's on point, right? Al punto. I would like for Fanny to try. So here you go, another one, and see if it's what your take on the rum is and the taste of everything else.
It's really good.
So if you want it a little stronger, you add a little bit more. I went with a cup and a quarter, and for me, that's fine. So of course, that's to your taste. So now we have to take this beautiful liquid mix and we have to put it somewhere. This has to chill for at least 2 hours. You want it to thicken up a little bit before you serve, and you always serve it cold. So how are we going to do that? A variety of ways.
Do you need me to move the camera?
Yeah, why don't we bring them over here so that you can see. So you can bottle up this, I would say, liquid gold, I guess, or liquid Christmas liquid, Coquito, into any of these bottles. So we've got a bottle with a little cute little knob over there. You can put it in a jar. You can put it in wine bottles. In the past, what people used to do, they drink that rum and then they would use that rum bottle and fill it with Coquito for Christmas. So they would save all of their rum bottles or even wine bottles, and then they use that to put their Coquito, and then they pass it on. You can even use a little milk jar here. So these are the variety of containers that you're going to put it in. Now, in order to get to this, you're going to need a funnel. So that's going to go over this jar. We're going to show that. And then,
I'm not sure how much it's moving.
yeah, I think we're going to go over here now.
Okay.
Let's turn this way. So we're going to show you how you would pour your Coquito in the jar. You just need a little steady hand. Your funnel's going to help you. ¿Lo pueden ver? And we're going to go like this.
Zen. Not that I'm putting it back because it's my.
Okay, so this is something you don't want to do. You don't want to fill it all the way to the top because one thing you have to do with Coquito is that you have to shake it. So I'm going to just empty out a little bit before you serve it. And you want to leave it like about like that. And then we're going to seal it. Clean it up, dale un limpiecito aquí. And we're gonna put this in the refrigerator to thicken up for at least 2 hours. But because we're in Magic TV, we already have some made.
Yeah.
Okay. This, a different jar. You know, you put one in and it comes out in a different way. So we have Coquito that I made 2 days ago, and it's been curing in the fridge. And you really want to shake it because, you know, cinnamon settles to the bottom, so you want to shake it up a little bit. And you serve it normally in small glasses. Coquito is not a drink to just like, it's a drink that you savor, okay? And it's usually in an after drink or when you go to somebody's house. Like they just will always have that in any Spanish or Puerto Rican, I should say, Puerto Rican household. Again, come Thanksgiving on all the way through Three Kings Day, which is the 6th of January, they will always have Coquito. So you're going to pour it in a small cup. Sometimes you can even pour it in a shot glass or like a cordial glass. I have these small champagne flutes. You can pour it in here, sprinkle a little cinnamon over it as well. So I'm going to do both so that you can see. Okay. So we have 2 versions of how you can serve your Coquito. And you can then maybe just for a look, you can add a little cinnamon on top. Sometimes they serve it with a cinnamon stick right there. You can put a little cinnamon stick in there if you wish. I normally don't serve it that way. That's probably for pictures, but because people really don't suck on cinnamon. But it does give it a nice flavor. You do want to put it in here when you store it because that cinnamon gets infused with all the milks as well. So that is okay. In the drink, it's for pictures. Okay, so we are going to give a toast, un salud, buen provecho, el Coquito puertorriqueño aquí, salud, a ver. Rico. Muy, muy rico.